Well, good morning. So, haven't done this in a while. Have a new haircut. Tank is newly blind, so eye makeup all over my face. So I'm just telling you that because in case he wanders around and looks a little lost, he probably is. I'm wearing my fabulous yoga pants or jogging pants that my friend Alicia made for me. If you're interested, let me know. I'll give you her contact to DM her. I just couldn't stand the idea of putting on tight pants at the moment. So it just feels too snowy and fuzzy that it just feels better to be in comfy clothes. So, but we're gonna move around a little bit. As I put in the little notes, there's a playlist there, and if Tank looks a little lost, it is because he just recently lost his vision, and we're learning to cope. So he walks into stuff a little bit. So I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna start in a seated position, but you can start anywhere you want. Move your butt. Come sit with me. Come sit with me. I'm in jogging pants. Just didn't want to wear yoga pants today, so so just come on into a comfortable seat. Stop watching. And whatever feels good for you. And I will tell you about halfway through, so if you chose a cross-legged seat, I'll give you an option to even it out. So for the moment, just give yourself a chance just to sit tall. Okay. And just let yourself ground down into your breath. And I know some of you are probably ecstatic about the weather right now. I know there's a whole bunch of you that are not very happy about the weather right now. I'm neutral at the moment. First snow is always kind of nice, but I just don't like it when it starts to get really gross. But, so just letting yourself, whatever the emotions or energy the weather brings, just give yourself the chance to be here right now. And we'll move a little bit to create some heat, but just know you can always go at whatever pace feels good for you. Tank has also been exceptionally itchy, so if you see me scold him for scratching, I'm not a mean mommy. He's hurting himself, and he's on medicine, but it hasn't really kicked in yet. So, the fun of getting old for everybody. So, take a moment, just let your chin drop in towards your chest. Good boy. And just let your head get kind of heavy. And then you can rock your right ear over towards your right shoulder and maybe extend out through your left fingertips. And you can kind of play with how high or low you are to the ground and kind of find a sweet spot in your neck. And depending on how you've been sleeping or not sleeping or things you've been doing, it might feel good or it might feel really uncomfortable. So just be, understanding with yourself. And then drop your chin in towards your chest. And creaky. And then let your ear drop over towards your left shoulder or whatever the opposite shoulder is. And again, just kind of play with floating the right arm or just seeing how that might affect things. Sometimes it makes it more intense and sometimes it might actually make it more subtle. So kind of see what direction you need to go with it. And then let yourself come on into the center, and if it feels good, you can let your hands come towards your legs, just rounding the spine. And then let yourself sit up really tall. If it feels good, you might even look up. And coil back. Think of like you're kind of hollowing out your belly, rounding the spine like cat's breath. And then just sitting up really tall. And then here, just give a subtle twist over towards the left. Don't worry about going super deep into it. We'll twist more in the practice too. And then coming around and letting yourself just twist over towards the right. Good boy. And then come back into the center. And if you're in a cross-legged seat, reverse the cross of your legs, or if you want to change the positioning of your legs at all, go right ahead. And then from there, just let your left hand come down. Let your right arm come on up and over. Taking a blind dog into the snow is fun, I'll tell you that. And then let your right arm just kind of hover and let your left ear just drop in, or whatever feels good for you as far as for the side waist. Maybe you'd actually rather keep stretching. Oh, excuse me. Haven't had caffeine yet. And then let yourself grow up a little bit taller and then just deepen your twist over towards the left. Good boy. And then come on into the center. Let your right hand come on down. Let your left arm come on up and over. And just let yourself kind of luxuriate in just the way it feels. Maybe let the arm drop, let your head drop. Just kind of see where things need space or where maybe you need to be a little bit more supported. And then as you start to come up tall, you can just take a twist over towards the right and think of it more of a chance to start to unwind your spine, not necessarily trying to go into a super, super deep twist. You're okay, buddy. And then come back into the center, and then here we're gonna start to come towards hands and knees. So letting yourself just shift into a position that's comfortable for you. You can stay there. And letting your shoulders just stack up over your wrists, your knees underneath your hips. And then just start to come through a couple of rounds of cat and cow. So hollowing out your belly, and then just dropping the belly, lifting the heart, lifting the tail. And coiling up, letting your chin drop in towards your chest, just rounding the spine to the sky. And then sinking the belly, and think about kind of pulling your shoulder blades towards each other. And then this time as you coil up, take a moment to curl the toes under, lift the hips, and just come up and back in a downward facing dog. And then just take a moment here to let yourself walk out the legs. I don't know what you've been up to this morning, but I've been outside with Tank a couple times in the snow, so I'm a little bit damp, I'm a little bit cold. So it just feels good to kind of start to move around a little bit. Oh, London Bridge. Hi, buddy. Give it another breath or two here. Okay, now ground into your left foot. Let's take your right leg up to the sky, bend the knee, open the hip. Good boy. Anything that feels good. And then let your right leg come on down, let the left leg come on up, and bend the knee, open the hip. And don't worry so much about alignment right now, just let things feel good. And then let yourself just start to walk your feet up towards your hands. So we'll continue to warm things up, but we'll do it with movement. Coming up towards the top of the mat, I'm using the blocks more because of the arthritis in my left thumb. So it's up to you. It's more just to have my hand so I can cup my thumb around it. But soften the left knee, let the left hand come down, right arm up to the sky. You want to let your hand wrap around to your low back, go right ahead. And then just letting yourself, right hand down, right knee softens, left arm can reach. Maybe it stays at your low back. It's just a matter of what feels good for you. And then take a moment, let yourself sink in. Take a halfway lift and really think about retracting your shoulder blades down the back, heart forward, tailbone high. And then give a little hollow out of the belly as you fold in. You might give a shake out of your head, or even give a little bit of a stretch with your hands, a little hair pull if that feels good for you. And then we're just going to come up to standing, so you can either roll the spine or long spine, but just drawing yourself all the way up. Sweep the arms up to the sky. Hold on to the right wrist, just reach up and over towards the left. And then just take a moment to switch up and over to the opposite side. Now scratch in. Come back into the center, and then just let the hands land at the heart, just for a moment. And just as we come into the movement together, I don't know about y'all, but I haven't felt like moving a lot recently, and it's a very strange sensation for me because, you know, it's the first time in 25 years I really have had very little interest in working out. But talking to my doctor about it, she said, gotta move to want to move. So part of my process this morning is moving with you. So getting myself to kind of get out of my own rut myself. So I hope you find it helpful. On the inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky. On the exhale, just forward fold. Inhale, take a halfway lift. On the exhale, step your right leg back towards a lunge. Pull back, lengthen your left leg, and let your hands be up as high on the blocks as necessary. And then sink in towards your left knee. And then pull back and kind of let it be that it's not just necessarily going straight back and forth. Maybe there's a little wiggle of your hips, kind of drawing the toes back, lengthening your spine, letting it be a little bit more freedom in the movement, just so you can see if there's places you need more space. The next time your left leg is long, keep it there for a moment. Maybe give a little extra lengthening out of your toes. Get a little nail polish off. Give yourself a moment to pause. And then sink back in towards your left knee. And then you can let your hand move a little wider. You might even drop down towards your right forearm and just let your leg have a chance to kind of wiggle out. You can rock side to side a bit if you feel like it. And then take a moment to maybe bend the back knee, just starting to wake up your quadricep, stretching it, but wake up your hamstring by working it. And then from here, just let your right foot come on down. Gather up your hands underneath you, and then wiggle your foot a little bit more to the right, the front foot, and then pull your back knee up. And so you end up in cow face pose or knee pile. And if that's too much, you can let yourself unwind the legs a little bit, just something that's going to get into your hips a bit more. And then you can fold forward if you feel like you want to. Sometimes your low back appreciates you staying tall, so whatever feels better for you. Give it another breath, not staying super long. Now here, just let your chest come on up. Just take your left leg, swing it back, and so now you're in half pigeon over your right leg. But we're not gonna go into like a melty pigeon. It's gonna be more of a lift your heart, and then think heart forward, sinking in. You can kind of roll along the spine a bit, almost like you're doing cat's breath on the way up. And then just pulling your heart forward. One more time, coil up. Now here, start to gather your hands underneath you, curl the back toes under, and then take down dog. Just take your right leg up to the sky. Then let your right toes drop down behind your left leg, come all the way down to a seat. Now just twist towards the right. Just give your right knee a bit of a hug. You can sit up nice and tall. Now here, let your right shin come on down. Press into your legs, lift your hips. Didn't realize I had moved the camera so close to me, so sorry. And then easy, let yourself roll back down. Now, just gonna pick it up with that right foot. Start to come around, draw up, pull the right knee into your belly, and then step forward, coming right into warrior two. And then here, just give yourself the chance to kind of move back and forth a couple times. Again, don't worry about alignment. Just let it be something where it just feels good. Or maybe you're just getting yourself to get on your mat, to move a little bit. I haven't really done this much myself lately. So it just feels good just to move. Now the next time you pull back, lengthen your right leg. Maybe get even longer out of your side waist. And then just simply let yourself exhale, bring the hands down. I'm grounding my hands on the blocks again just so I can cup my thumbs. Step back towards a high plank, chaturanga. Either go to the belly or hover. Coming into up dog, or perhaps it's cobra. And then just taking yourself up and back, downward facing dog. And then just start to let yourself take a little stroll, feet walking up towards the hands. When they get there, take them about hips distance or so, and then just hook your big toes with your fingers. Take a halfway lift, heart forward, and then belly, chest, chin dropping down over your thighs. Try to let your shoulders move away from your ears. And inhale, take another halfway lift. And then exhale, just sink in. No scratching, stop it. Stop it. Then when you're ready, we're gonna come all the way up to standing. Stop stretching. Come all the way up tall, sorry. And then take a stretch off to one side. It doesn't really matter if it's left or right first. And then come on up and over to the other. And then just come on into the center and let the hands just come back into the heart. And just notice how, your body might start to awaken a little bit, even just with subtle movement. Inhale, draw the arms up to the sky. Exhale and forward fold. Inhale, take a halfway lift. On the exhale, press into the right foot. Just step your left leg back to a lunge, but lower the left knee right down. Have your blocks handy just in case. Pull back, lengthen your right leg. And then just sink back in. So not moving super fast, but we're just gonna move quite a bit. So anytime you'd rather pause someplace, don't feel like you have to move on. I can't see you, so you can do whatever you want. Give it another breath. Good boy. Now the next time you lengthen the right leg, this time pause there for a moment. Adjust your hands as you need to, and you might kind of play with how long your spine is, or if there's a little bit of a tuck. Stop stretching. And then you can use your hand if you want to kind of reach to your toes. Stop it. Stop, stop, stop. Stop. I'm not being mean. It's because he's hurting himself. He's on medicine, but he hasn't stopped scratching. Stop. Do it. And he tries to hide the scratch. And then sink back in towards your right knee. Now here, maybe letting yourself come down towards your left arm. You can let your hips drop. Thank you. You can use your hand to give your right leg a little press. Maybe you want to bend the left knee, waking up your quad, your hamstring, just seeing what feels good there. And then as you let your hands come down to the mat, press into your right foot. Kind of curl the back toes under so you can pick it up a little. Right foot moving over towards the left edge of your mat. And then you can either slide the front leg back or pull the back leg forward. Either one's going to work. Good. And then readjust as you need to. You might have to kind of lift, move your sits bones, move your bum around a little bit so you feel steady. And then you can stay tall, you can fold forward, This could also be double pigeon or even just a Baddha Konasana, feet together, knees wide, if this doesn't feel good in your knees. Give it another breath or so where you are. And then from here, we're going to be sliding back into half pigeon. So when you lift up, you can take your right leg, swing it behind you. I'm going a little crooked because of the dog, but don't go crooked. And then letting yourself sink in. But again, not just going into kind of hanging out. Let yourself lift the heart. You might even go as far as scissoring your legs, lift the hips a little bit. And then you can sink down. Coil up, lifting the chest. So getting a little bit of a back bend element here. And then draw it in. And then this time when you come up, just getting ready to kind of gather your hands up underneath you. Curl the back toes under. Start to pick up your left leg. Give yourself a moment to reach up. Now let the left knee bend. Roll the toes behind your right leg. Sit all the way down. Now you're just going to twist. Just keep turning towards the left. Give your knee a little hug, a little twist here. And then you're going to let the left leg come down. Press into the knee, shin, foot. Press up, opening through your side waist. And then here, as you come back and around, we're going to pull the left knee into the belly. It's coming up into warrior two. So you can kind of pause here, lift up if that feels good. But then the left leg will come up, right heel will spin down. And then coming into Vira two. And then draw yourself up. And then come on up and over towards side angle. And we're just going to do this a couple times. So letting yourself have some freedom in the movement. Drawing up and back, and then coming forward. One more time coming up, and it might feel good just to lengthen out your left leg for a pause. And then you can just exhale, pinwheel the hands down to the mat. Take down dog for a second. Just float that left leg up to the sky. Lower the left foot down to meet the right foot. This time lower your shins, walk your arms forward. Coming into puppy pose, so just letting yourself sink the heart towards the ground. And then let yourself roll all the way forward, coming down towards your belly. I'm going to turn towards you, but if you've practiced with me before, you probably know this next thing. But just in case, right arm out to the side, turn it up to the sky, and then roll your left toes behind you. And think of it as you're just trying to roll open your chest and your hips to the sky. The more that happens, the deeper the opening. And then come down to your belly and slide the right hand in. Take the left arm out. So hard to be a puggle. And then roll yourself open. I don't want to startle him. And then come back down towards your belly and slide your hands under your shoulders. Just come on into a baby cobra. Let your head kind of hang heavy. I'm really squeezing my legs though, so my glutes are staying active. And then sink in. And then roll back to child's pose. You don't have to turn on your mat. I just turn because of my dog. Inhale, you can come on up. So you're standing on the shins for a moment. Just sweep the right arm up. Let it come around to your low back. Take the left arm up to the sky. Now if you want, you might even take the hand behind your head, support your neck. Just kind of lengthening out the front body. Not going crazy. My low back's a little tight, so I'm not doing a really big back bend. And then coming back up. And then let the left arm circle around. Let the right arm float up towards the sky. Oh, buddy, you're so itchy. What are you doing? And then come back. Sorry, I'm looking at how red his belly is. Inhale, lift up. Both hands maybe. And then exhale. Take a moment. Just sink back. Now from here, let yourself kind of lean back if it's okay for the knees. And see if you can pick up your knees a little bit. And that's about as far as mine want to go. And then come forward. Curl your toes under. Either stay right there if that's enough of a toe stretch, or sit back on your heels. Now that we're back in boots again, you're going to make sure you're opening up your feet. And then we're going to shift into downward facing dog. I'm just going to do it very casually, but you can do something more ornate if you're in the mood. So just letting my hands come on down, and then just let yourself kind of spin up and lift the hips to the sky. Now in this down dog, take your feet a little bit on the wider side, and if your heels don't touch, you might want to shorten your stance. Press into your left hand, just move the right hand over towards your left leg, little peek up underneath your left arm. And then come on through the center, right hand will stay, left arm coming over towards the right. And then come to the center and then just let yourself take a little tippy toe, walk up
toward your hands.
Don't scratch. No scratching. And then just come on into a forward fold. Just giving yourself a moment just to pause and sink in. And then from here, we're going to come all the way up to standing. I'm just trying to make sure my dog doesn't scratch. Inhale, come all the way up, climb up tall. And then exhale, let your hands come on in towards your heart. Oh boy. 2020 hasn't been very good at tank either. So here, diving in a little deeper, bring your feet so they're a bit closer to touch. Bend the knees. Utkatasana, chair pose. Good boy. Now here, just open twist to one side. It doesn't really matter which one first. Inhale, center. Open twist to the other side. Good boy. Inhale to the center. Now we're going to do a little toe balance. If you're questioning your knee stability, you might want to stay in a higher chair, but let your hands come on into the heart. You can start to let yourself sink down. And then try to squat down so you're kind of sitting right above your heels. You can be up on your toes. Some of you might even get to your heels on the ground. And then just take a twist over to one side. You can use your left arm to support you. If you happen to feel motivated to put your hands on the ground and come into side crow, go ahead. I don't. Come to the center, maybe play for a moment. Hands to the heart, try to get your balance, squeeze your ankles. And then twist over towards the left. Again, hands down. You can bring your feet up in the air coming into side crow if you're in the mood. But feel zero pressure if you're not, because I'm not either. Come back into the center. Let your knees go wide. And then here, just let yourself sink back. You might just take a moment to kind of rock back and forth in Malasana, or maybe you decide to come into crow, but we're actually coming down to our bum, so in case that makes any difference. Use your hands as you need to let your bottom drop down, and then let your legs come on up, coming into Navasana, boat pose. Try to lift the chest. Then here, just hover. And then inhale, lift up. You can bend your knees as you need to. And then hover. And then lift up. Now this time, hover, pause on your back. Place your right foot on the floor. Cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Now you can just stay here in this kind of figure four shape. Or if you're in the mood, hug the knees into the belly. Now, options I'm going to give you from here, just take this deeper. So anytime you just stop. Taking your left hand to the knee, hand to the foot. You can extend your right leg, but think about here trying to draw your foot up towards your right ear. The tendency is to want to pull it into your hip. You'll notice the higher up it goes, the more you actually get a good stretch. Now, if you're feeling like you have more room, you can wrap your elbow, and then do it. This is especially when you might end up pulling the left foot into your hip. So just let yourself have the freedom of using your hand if this is too much. Now from there, unwind it, roll to the right, put your left foot on the ground, and just let yourself just lengthen out. Now here, just hover your right leg. So it's kind of like my friend Dee does a pose she calls sexy beach pose, or I think it's baby grasshopper or something. But this would be like if you were actually upright and lifting your foot with your hand. I'm just using my inner thigh, which is going to help strengthen the inner thigh. Then here, just roll back onto your back, reach down towards your left foot, and come on into half happy baby. Now, depending on how that feels for you, you might keep the right knee bent on the ground, or you can take the right leg out long. Try to keep your left foot stacked over your left knee rather than flaring it out to the side. And then all you're going to do here is come into happy baby on both legs for a moment. And it might feel weird because one leg's got a little bit more going on than the other. But then just let your left foot come down to the ground, cross your right ankle over the left thigh. Anyone who wants to, this is a perfect place to stay, no need to do anything different. If you do want a little bit more, hand to foot, hand to knee, you can draw the leg up, extending the left leg, and you can put it on the floor. I'm choosing to hover it. And then again, if you think there's more space in there, stick that foot in the crook of your elbow, either hand or elbow around the other knee, and then extend the leg. And just notice that the tendency is to want to pull the foot into your body. Push it away. That's going to actually give you more of a stretch. And unless for you, that's more than enough. Give it a breath where you are. Now you can release the foot, try not to let it slam out of your hands. And then just start to let yourself roll down toward your left side. So I'm kind of using my hand to help keep my leg in place, but then lift up the left leg as much as you can. I kind of just looked down and noticed my ankle was doing something weird. I have a tendency to sickle my feet. So just letting myself straighten out the leg. You could even go as far as pointing it if you wanted it to look a little prettier. Give it another breath. And then coming onto your back. Half happy baby. Bent bottom leg can be bent or straight. Try to let yourself keep both sides of the hips on the ground as best as you can. And then from here, take the left foot up too. Instead of half happy baby, or happy baby rather, take your feet into Baddha Konasana, bound angle, and then act like you're trying to draw them up towards your head. And then you can draw your feet down towards you. Right here, buddy. And draw up. What did I mention? He's deaf now too. And draw. And now here, we're gonna rock up towards boat. So you can kind of use your legs for a little bit of momentum, or you can bend the knees, kind of let yourself use a little squeeze, drawing yourself up, legs up. Now we're just coming all the way to standing. You can rock back, rock forward, or just bring your feet down and see, maybe test standing up without using your hands. It's actually a skill that we tend to lose the ability to do as we age. So inhale, draw the arms up high. Exhale and forward fold. Inhale, take a halfway lift. On the exhale, step your right leg back to the lunge. Now, knee high or low, I'm going to choose low, letting yourself draw the arms up to the sky this time. Now, try to keep some length in your low back, so not necessarily pushing your belly forward. Let yourself start to sink the hips forward. So you're trying to keep the heart high. So I'm actually leaning back a bit, so there's a deeper tug on the right thigh, which is why your body wants to go this way, because it's more comfortable. So you're trying to lift the chest up. Then let yourself sink in, here, back knee high or low, letting yourself slide the right foot, and then just fold over your long left leg. I'm kind of letting myself melt into it a little bit more today. When I'm feeling stronger, I want to be here. But right now, I'm just happy to be moving a little bit, so I'm just going to sink it in. Now from here, it's a little twist I learned from Trisha. Take your left hand, reach it towards your right leg, and then either press into your right hand, just look underneath your right shoulder, or you could hold on to your left leg with your right hand. It's a funky little twist. Feels kind of nice. And then just let yourself come back towards the center, soften into the knee enough that you can lower down the right shin, lower the right shin all the way down, and then let yourself kind of sink down to the inside of your left leg and drop in the hips. Come here, buddy. Stop scratching. Hey, stop it. Stop. So you're still losing. Sorry, I feel like this is kind of a comedic class, but I'm trying. Now he's walking into a wall. Oh boy. Maybe try to float the right leg a little bit just to get some extra strength. Maybe you have a puzzle who tries to use your leg to scratch his face. Oh, Baba. Wait, you want me to scratch your chest? And then from here, we're going to be rolling onto our backs again, but this left leg is going up in the air. So he's trying to make me scratch it with my foot. So here, I'm going to come onto our back. Reach down towards your left toe or your left foot. Open the left leg up. And then just draw it out to the side. Kind of like you're doing triangle laying down. If you can't reach your foot comfortably, you can just totally let the leg drop out to the side. Stop scratching. Come here. Draw the left leg up to the center. Twist it over towards the right. So it's kind of like you're doing a revolved triangle, but you're laying down. This has become the tank show. Now, from here, you're going to start to bend the left knee. Then roll back onto your belly. You can totally use your hands as much as you want or you need to. Drawing up. Stop scratching. No scratching. No. Now press down into your left foot, your right foot. I'm lifting my hips if you can't see because the dog is blocking me. And then bring your hands around. Come up onto the ball of your back foot. Heel toe your left foot over to the right edge of your mat. And coming into half pigeon. Now, we are going to be getting up again. So if the idea of laying forward is going to make you feel too lazy about it, stay high. I'm going to stay high just because I'm going to keep an eye on the puggle. You okay, Bubba? Tank is 12 and a half. If you haven't seen him post, he was recently diagnosed with diabetes. We're getting his insulin under control, but he's having some of the other issues like itchy skin.
He's lost his vision. He has lost weight though. He's thinner. I don't know if you can tell. He's kind of like got that old people thing happening. Old people, and I'm an old people person, so I'm saying it like that. That he's lost weight, so his skin looks too big for his body. 2 more breaths. And then from here, keeping the left leg forward, swing your right leg around. Come on into double pigeon, which is knee over ankle, ankle over knee. Or if you'd rather do the knee pile again, you can. And then just give a little forward fold. And for me right now, this is pretty freaking tight. So I'm not really trying to force the forward bend, just sinking in a little bit. Now, to transition to the other leg, I'm kind of like this playing around with creative sequencing this morning. So you could totally unwrap your legs, chaturanga, up dog, down dog, all that fun stuff if you want to. And then you're going to end up keeping the right foot forward, the left leg back so you can step up. My intention is that we're going to unwrap the legs, put the right foot on the floor, and then take a standing split, and then step back into the lunge. But just, feel free however you want to transition to a right foot forward, left foot back. So here, just unwrapping my spine, my legs, bringing my hands down, press the left leg up to the sky, and then just reach back towards the lunge. Again, you can have your shin up or down. I'm choosing down. And then just let the upper body lift up. Now here, instead of letting your chest move towards your thigh, try to keep space, but then sink into the hips. So the idea is you're getting a deeper stretch in the front of the right quad. You can reach the arms to the sky, but sometimes I just like to press my hand into the thigh, just giving it a little bit more support. Give it another breath. Anybody who has the back knee off the floor, you could always do with the top of your foot on the mat. That would be pretty intense. And then from here, your hands will come down. This is where you're going to lengthen the right leg. Oops, sorry, buddy. And if you want, you can take both legs long until you're in more of that pyramid shape. Some days I practice more with the crown forward. Today I'm just feeling like I want to sink in. And then adding that funky little twist, right hand towards the left leg. Just give it a peek underneath your left arm. I'm sorry, I feel like my voice doesn't sound terribly energized today, and it's probably because it's not. I'm struggling a little bit, but I'm trying to work my way back, so I promise to be more perky later. And then you can let yourself unwind. Now give yourself the pause here, just as you let yourself start to kind of sink in towards your leg. You might give a little bit of a wiggle back. Take a moment just to turn to the side, the long edge of your mat. Take a little side to side moment, just because it might feel good, just to unwind your hips for a sec. And then eventually you're going to come back over the right leg. Lower your left shin down. This is when you might need to move your foot out to the side a little bit. And then coming down towards the forearm, you can give a little wiggle from side to side. Now eventually you might start to drop your left hip all the way down. You can lay down towards the side and pause. You might give a little moment of lifting up the left leg to activate the inner thigh. Now I'm probably going to have to shift a little bit so I don't roll onto tank, but all you're going to do from here is roll onto your back and put your right leg up in the air. So right leg, you can hold on to the big toe or just let your leg, I use like a kickstand sometimes. I'll do a kickstand so I don't land on tank. Hi Bubba. You sweet boy. And then take your same right leg, bring it up and over towards the left. So like that revolved triangle type of stretch in the hip. And then if my transition back to the belly feels awkward in your body, please don't let yourself feel uncomfortable. Honestly, I'm being slightly lazy and just staying closest to the floor, especially because my tanky wants to snuggle with me. So you're gonna let yourself roll the right leg back down, press into your legs if you want to take a moment to push down into your foot, lifting the hips, kind of like a little funky side plank. But eventually you're just going to roll your chest back down to the ground as gracefully as you wish. Right foot's going to come on over, coming towards that beginning of half pigeon. But then you can let yourself sink in. So this time we're going to stay closer to the ground. So if you're starting to feel a little bit more chill, you're welcome just to let yourself settle. And then let your left leg come forward, heading into double pigeon. And Again, knee over ankle, ankle over knee, but if you need to do a different variation because it's a better choice for you, giving yourself the option. He's made himself all red from scratching. Dog's getting old, sucks. Let yourself roll in. Now, it's really more for the sake of balance that we're going to have the standing split. So if you're like, oh, Debbie, I'm really happy to be on the floor. But just so you can have that sake of balance, you're going to take your left foot, just press it down into the mat. Use your hands as much as you need to. Maybe you can grab your blocks. Press down, and then just let your right leg just float up towards the sky. Then just let your right foot come down to meet your left foot. Bend your knees, and just let yourself have a seat. Now from here, take your legs out long in front of you. At first coming into Dandasana, which is staff pose, which is a pose, and it doesn't look like it's terribly exciting, but it does take a lot of work if you're doing it properly. So, or doing it actively, I don't want to say properly, that sounds judgmental. So just sitting tall, and think about really activating your legs. I'm choosing to flex my feet at the moment, but pointing is great too. But letting them be really active so you can feel your quads lifting, your knees lifting, your shins kind of drawing up. Then let yourself sit up really tall. I have the advantage of being able to see myself in the camera so I can tell that my spine is long, but letting yourself use your arms as you need to sit up really tall. In the traditional Dandasana shape, your hands would be on the ground, kind of helping you sit up, kind of bringing in a little bit of silks training. You could also take your arms up, which actually takes more work to stay lifted, and then it's like heart forward, arms back some. And it's amazing because all you're doing is sitting there, but it can actually take a decent amount of effort to do it. And then when you feel ready, you can exhale, let the hands come down, and then forward fold. As I mentioned earlier, my low back's a little bit cranky, so I'm not going to go super deep into the forward bend, but you can go down whatever degree feels good for you. You might even bend your knees a little bit so you can support yourself better on your thighs. And in a moment, we're going to be coming down towards our backs. So as you're ready, if you want to make it a little bit more core, don't bend your knees and keep your arms floating. If you want more support, just hold on to your legs. But I'm just going to scoot forward so I'll cut off my head. Let yourself just roll it down. You might just take a moment. I just inhale low here. Inhale your arms up overhead. Let's get a big long stretch. And then we're going to be coming in towards bridge pose. You're welcome to do a different back bend if you want, but as I mentioned, I'm feeling kind of rounded myself. So tuck your shoulders under, and a little trick, excuse me, is to press into your triceps to help you lift the chest. So it starts to give you that sensation of Urdhva Dhanurasana, of wheel, and then start to press into your feet, lifting your hips, your ribs up towards your shoulders, away from the mat. And just letting yourself pause for a moment. It might even be a time that you want to put a block underneath your sacrum. That's what I really want to do, but I'm actually choosing to do what I'm doing to make myself use my legs a little bit more. And then just ease shoulders, ribs, tailbone back down. You can just pause on your back for a moment. And then yogi's choice. If you'd like to lift again, go right ahead. What I'm actually going to choose to do is I'm going to use the block, but I'm going to change the shape of the pose. So the block is right underneath my sacrum, and then I'm actually going to lengthen my legs. So that's going to help soften the psoas, soften the front of my legs, but it still has a little bit of that back bending element. If you'd rather do a different variation, go right ahead. And then from here, because I have the block there, I can actually come into supported shoulder stand by just lifting my legs up to the sky, just where I am. But you could do the same thing if your hips are on the ground. If you do want to lift into shoulder stand, go right ahead. Just be really mindful if you have any neck issues, it's really not the best pose for you to do, and at least not without guidance from a teacher, because it's a pose that you could do some damage to your neck if you're not kind of connected properly. And then anytime you want, it's just going to be a chance to come in to chill. And maybe it feels good to keep your legs up in the air for a while. I'm realizing I probably need to start doing this more now that I'm on my feet a better part of the day working in retail, which I love, but I just gotta get the weight out of my feet. And then starting to roll your hips down. And then taking a cue from Tank and taking Shavasana. Oh no, Ariel. I'm sorry. So, please feel free. If you have time to rest longer and you just want to give yourself a chance to kind of chill out and maybe you're enjoying a snow day. But give yourself the option to do whatever feels good. And if you are ready to come back into your day, maybe just taking a little wiggle in your fingers and your toes, a little roll off to one side, giving yourself a moment just to pause there. And then eventually you can come on up into a seat. But take your time. There's no rush at all. And then you can let your hands just come on in towards your heart. And just give yourself the pause to be okay. I was talking to another friend, Jess, who also is a very active yogini. You know, she runs, she swims, she bikes, she teaches yoga, she does it all. And we're both having this kind of heavy sensation in our life where sometimes we just don't feel like doing it all. And that can be hard because it's kind of your reputation, it's your image, it's what people expect of you. And it's what you expect of yourself. It's not even what other people expect, it's what you expect of yourself. And sometimes you just don't want to. So try to give yourself a little space that when you need some rest, to take the rest. Maybe when you realize that you're letting yourself get into a rut, just start small. Just shake yourself out of it a little bit. I did like 5 sit-ups the other day, felt very accomplished. But just take the time to take care of you. I'm happy to be here with this morning. Sorry it's been a while, but namaste.